Okay, now we're on part 2 of the video, and we are going to be going from vertex form into standard form. So the first thing we need to do here is write this as x minus 4 times x minus 4 minus 7. I'm going to FOIL here, so I have 5 times. That's going to be x squared. Can you guys do this step in your head? Minus 4x is minus 8x, and then plus 16 minus 7. Now distribute the 5. So that's going to be 5x squared minus 40x plus 5 times 16, which is 80, minus 7. So 5x squared minus 40x plus 73 is how you would go from vertex form to standard form. And again, you'll have to do that on your test as well. Put it into vertex form first, and then distribute to put that into standard form. Next, we're going to do some transformation that requires a bit more work. So from standard form to factored form, you just need to factor. For number 1, I have 2 terms, so I'm going to factor something with 2 terms by taking out a GCF. Here I can take out a 3x, and I will have 2x minus 5 left, and that's it. For number 2, I need to do the AC method. So what 2 numbers can you multiply to get negative 66 and add to get negative 5? So I'm going to have 1 times negative 66. That doesn't work. 2 and negative 33. That doesn't work. 3 and negative 11 gives me negative 8. I don't know if 4 goes into 66. Let's see. It does not. 5 doesn't go into 66, but 6 and negative 11. Oh, I did this wrong. That was 3 and negative 22, which still doesn't work. But 6 and negative 11 does work. I can use the shortcut because the leading coefficient is 1. So that's x plus 6 times x minus 11. So from standard form to factored form, you just need to factor. Next, a few more. Why don't you guys pause the video, see if you could do these 2 on your own, and then check when you're finished. Number 3, I'm going to do the AC method. So what 2 numbers can you multiply to get 42 and add to get 13? That's going to be 6 and 7. You can't use the shortcut here. So I have y equals 2x squared plus 6x plus 7x plus 21. Then you need to factor by grouping. Here I can take out a 2x and I have x plus 3. Here I need to take out a 7 and I have x plus 3. So I get x plus 3, 2x plus 7. For number 4, there are 2 terms, so I'm going to take out a GCF of 5, and you get 4x squared minus 9, and then that factors further, because 4x squared minus 9 is the difference of 2 squares. So that will be 2x plus 3, 2x minus 3. Next, we're going to go from standard form into vertex form. So this is the last way. It requires a bit more work. We're going to have to complete the square to get this done. Remember, when you complete the square, that the a value has to be 1. And if it isn't 1, I'm going to show you what to do on the next slide. So let's pretend like this equals 0. I'm going to set x squared minus 10x plus something equal to negative 7 plus something. In this blank, we do b divided by 2 squared. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 squared is 25. Then I'm going to factor this. I do the square root of x squared, which is x, the sine of the middle, and the square root of 25, which is 5, and that's going to equal 18. Now, here's where it's different from normal completing the square. If I were completing the square to solve right here, I would take the square root of both sides. but I'm not completing the square to solve. I'm completing the square to write the equation in vertex form. So instead, right here, I'm going to subtract 18 back over here. So I have x minus 5 squared minus 18, and that is vertex form. You can check your work by foiling this out and then subtracting 18 to see if you get what you started with. Okay, last one. I'm still going to put this into vertex form by completing the square, but remember, a has to be 1. So to make this 1, let's say this equals 0, I'm going to multiply everything by 5. But when you do that, I need you to make yourself a note that says, in the end, you have to do the opposite thing. You have to put that back. Divide by 5. So if I multiply by 5, I get x squared minus should be 10x. X squared minus 10x plus 40 equals 0. So x squared minus 10x plus something equals negative 40 plus something. And this blank is b over 2 squared. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 squared is 25 again. So I have x minus 5 squared equals negative 15. Remember here, add 15. So what I have is y equals x minus 5 squared plus 15. But if you leave your answer that way, you're forgetting about what you did at the beginning. I got rid of that 5 when the equation equaled y instead of 0, which means I changed the problem. So to fix it, I need to divide this by 5, and I need to divide this by 5. So y equals 1/5 times x minus 5 squared plus 3. Let's say the original problem was, was something like y equals 3x squared minus 6x plus 9. If I divide by 3 at the beginning, in the end of this one, I would need to multiply each thing by 3. So you do the opposite of what you did to start with. Okay, that's it for the notes. So end your video, get out your homework assignment sheet, and do A 1.7.